I'm Jessica Ann Pressler, and you've tuned into Your Traitor Within, a podcast that exposes the brutal truths of healing, self-discovery, and breaking free from relentless patterns of self-sabotage. We have a special guest, although she wants to remain anonymous. We're going to call her M. Hi, M. How are you?
Good morning.
I would love you to share your Traitor Within story.
For me, it was to stay in poor relationships. So I kind of think back on my growing up. I had a normal household. Parents had a normal relationship. They were married till death. But I was a Catholic upbringing. So you know what? You stuck it out. You toughed through the hard times and you didn't get divorced. So I bring myself into my relationships as I got older. And here I am married in a dysfunctional relationship in many different ways between us, between children, and between in-laws. And so there was a lot of disarray in many different areas. And I remember that I would always think to myself, okay, we'd have a bad thing happen, a big, huge fight. Things would get awful and ugly. Horrible, horrible things were said, very harmful, hurtful things. And I would say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna try to do it this way, try and do it that way, and stick it out.
Mm-hmm. And because we talked earlier, I do know that you had this pattern in many romantic relationships.
Right. So
You were married,
yeah,
you were married young.
22.
Yeah. So I do believe that you had a traitorous, or your traitor came out in that relationship as well.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. That was a very short-lived one because we were just way too young, way too not right for each other in many aspects. Drugs were involved. So it was that was a very toxic relationship that I knew I had to get out of. And especially with the drugs, that was just
Not drugs. You were not taking drugs. This is
no,
drugs.
not me. No, 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 not me. It was, yeah,
Right.
that I discovered and then later on found out how the type of drugs he was doing and pretty harmful stuff.
So the
Um,
healthy part of you did get out because you are
oh
the
my
one.
God, yeah, knew it. That was like healthy. I knew I was taking my little girl and we were out.
Mhm. But you did stay in that relationship for a period of time before that happened.
Yeah, yeah, we were married 3 years actually. And halfway through is when it started to go sour.
Mhm. And then what made you not leave the moment you found out? So you're committed or you're
No, I didn't feel like I was committed actually this time. So I felt like the other let's try to work through it. We went to marriage counseling.
okay. So there you actually acted in a healthy manner. So your traitor within was not part of your.
Not so much there as far as like going on. But then you know what? Then I get married the second time and I don't want to get divorced again. I've already been divorced. Like I
Mhm.
said, growing up, that's not the pattern that you're supposed to be taking. So I really did stick it out. I think we were married for many years, but there was just a lot of abusive things that took place.
And then what would go on in your head when this happened? Did you push it away? Did you bury it? Did you?
Know what I would do is when the fights would start like that and they were starting to get really like, destructive, angry, you know, thoughts of, potentially hurting me, chasing me up the stairs. Because what I would like to do is I would remove myself from the situation to just try and calm things down. But like that, it just wouldn't stop.
Mhm. So you were doing something healthy. You were removing yourself, but that may have
Try-
enraged him even more because he was not committed.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. So he would just, come pounding on the door or scream
Scary.
from downstairs. Yeah.
And so that
Um,
was going on for a long time then.
yeah, yeah. We had a lot of family involvement. However, when we were dating, it was a different story. So that's interesting, is when we were dating, it was just, I thought I hit the jackpot as far as everything was concerned, in-laws and him.
Well, see, this is the part that people need to understand too. The traitor within isn't, sometimes you're fooled. So this she, he, they, whatever that we want to call your traitor is off to the side and you're being courted and or love bombed, depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah, right.
All the right things are said and your in-laws are acting perfectly and your spouse to be is acting perfectly, and so you're fooled. So your trader isn't even needed there. You're this is healthy, this is makes sense, and then you get married and things change.
Yes, they did. They changed it probably, let's see, maybe 6 months into the marriage. Yep. And I don't know if it has to do with a lot of it, for me, it was at this point, it was just the beginning of all the problems. So I was going to stick it out. And then just time went on and on and on, and things got worse and worse and worse.
To
Not making excuses for it, but always hoping that things were going to get better.
do you think that he was manipulating you, making you believe that things were going to get better? Did he feel bad about it? Was there some sort
Yes,
of
because then he would
going
totally,
on?
absolutely feel really horrible about it and try and make up for it in various different ways, the flowers or being kind. And then, it would always trigger again. There was always a trigger. And so when the kids were young, it was between the two of us. And then as the kids got older, they were pulled into it.
It's hard not to. It's in front of them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because I mean, there's two pieces here because there's the traitor within, and then there's the trauma bond. There's this piece, this abusive cycle of him and his family, acting in an abusive manner towards you and your children, or your child, but then he comes back and says, "I'm so sorry," or whatever. Here's this, I'll treat you well, and there's that
Hmm.
cycle that happens, and so you have two parts going on. You have the manipulation from the outside and the help with the traitor within.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know one Christmas Eve, I was on the phone with you. I was on the phone with you from down at the in-laws.
For Christmas Eve.
Yeah. You know what I should have done? I should have packed my kids up and left.
Mhm. So what stopped you?
I wanted to not let them get the best of me. So I actually stayed. I actually went back because I was out in the car when I was talking to you, and I actually went back inside. And it was an argument between myself and mother and sister-in-law. And ex-husband came in and actually saw it, and kind of at that point started to see that the family was causing problems, but never fully accepting it or standing up for me at all.
And what was the aha moment? What
The
happened?
aha was like, I just can't go on living like this. I want to be happy. I deserve to be happy. But then I get into other relationships. Then after we're divorced, I waited a while before I dated or anything. And then when
Everything
I
you're
did,
supposed to do, you took the time, you healed.
Mhm.
I remember. And then
And then I started dating and met kind of similar, one I thought was more, I wouldn't say narcissistic as much as I would say selfish. Life was all about him. Would I allow, now that I look back, why would I have ever allowed myself to stay in a situation like that?
so that's the question. That's where the traitor comes in.
Right. What,
Because thing is,
why did I do that? So then you kind of go back and you try and think of like trauma in the past, but you just kind of keep repeating the same habits and you just need to break yourself of that.
but your hope was that you had healed because you did spend that time. And so, because we're always teaching to heal first before you figure out
Bump
what,
into anything else.
right. But something, it happened again. And again, I think there's a mixture because this guy was nice in the beginning
Right.
and you get brought
You
into it.
get brought into that.
But where some people, though, would have walked away when they started seeing signs, you didn't. Because I remember you made excuses, or they got nice
Yeah.
of the day, but he mistreated you.
I don't know, it was like a year and a half, I think I stayed. And then I just thought, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to feel like this anymore.
Well, that's important. I don't want to feel like this anymore because it,
So, yeah. And then in the meantime, then I met somebody else in the meantime, which I think kind of helped get me away from him, the first one.
yeah.
But the second one came on love bombing, like you remember.
He
Love
was very
bombing.
the textbook of the grandiose narcissist,
Oh
where
my
he was
goodness,
like
yes.
all out there and the center, and he like the way he posted and on.
Everything, the way he acted, the things he would say were so grandiose and over the top.
Mhm.
And I felt uncomfortable with that.
Right. So this is the question, and then back to the trader. So you're mindful. I remember because we would talk all the time, and you would vacillate between feeling like this is weird, this doesn't
Yeah.
feel right, but the trader saying, let's ignore how you feel.
Let's
Let's
ignore how you feel and just let it keep
consider his
going.
behavior, right? Or latch on to the positive. So there was times where, as your friend, um, I think the one that got me the most as your friend was what happened at the party, the neighbor's house across the street.
Oh,
When
which
you
thing?
when you showed up and he ignored you.
Yeah, like
That,
actually bizarre. So I show up and his
he
friend is
invites
out.
you. Wait,
His
let's
friend is out
clarify.
in front.
He
Right.
invites you. So this isn't like you're coming into a party you weren't invited to. He invites you to come to this event.
And I go, and his friend comes out and meets me. That where the party was. I go, okay, whatever. So go back. I sit down. I'm like sitting right there, and cou couple minutes go by, and then all of a sudden turns to me like, "Oh, hello. Like, did you not know I was coming? You invited me." As
And
if
you
I,
came far. Like, what did you travel an hour? Maybe it's not a full
yeah,
hour, but it was a
what was
trip.
it? Let me think. Yeah, probably about an hour.
Right. So he knows you're making this effort, you're showing up.
Exactly.
So that's where the traitor within comes in because you are mindful of it. You do have moments where you know,
Of an epiphany that, oh my goodness, this is
right,
not.
but you stay.
Yeah,
You don't go. And I remember there was a period of time where you would leave and he would pull you back in. So there's a little bit.
exactly. That was it.
So again, there's two pieces here. Again, we have the narcissist who's doing the typical, the
A
hoovering,
dozen roses, long stem roses, like these grandiose things.
right? Textbook narcissist,
Just to
textbook
pull me
hoovering,
back in. That was the
right?
only reason
Right. But then in the beginning, he was able to.
he was able to.
But
But
even
at
when he
that,
was, Mhm.
he would, like, after we were officially broken up, he would still contact me. But I let him. I
Yeah,
could have blocked him.
right. And we talked about blocking him. We talked about all that stuff. And so the question is like, what happens between the part of you that is mindful of what's happening, the part of you that talks to me about what's happening in a very,
Uh-huh.
you know, truthful, very a lot of insight, and then the part that lets him get away with,
Get away with
or
it.
you're back
Many,
into it,
many things.
get hurt
Many
again,
things.
and then you get hurt again, because every time he does something, it's hurtful.
Exactly. And I think it almost honestly, almost like you're sucked into it and you can't get out of it.
So what does it feel like? What does that mean that you're and sucked into is like a Hoover vacuum, which is what this
Yeah, exactly. Sucked, hoovered back into the relationship.
the word. Yeah.
And you can't break that cycle. Something has to come to break it. I don't know. And again, I think it broke. I got down to the fact where, so it was like, I would say, Jill, we met in like a September, October, and then we were officially done that July. But he continued contacting me
Hmm.
for like maybe up to 9 months, sending gifts and whatnot and asking to see me. And I would say, instead of just saying, no, I don't want to see you, I would come up with excuses.
Now that
And
was because you're just being kind, or how come you did that instead of just saying, I don't want to see you?
I think in my mind, I was trying to figure out, did I want to stay or did
Okay.
I want to go?
Okay. That makes sense. So again, a traitorous because you should have said, "No, I don't want to see you," but some part of you still wanted him there a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, yep, for sure.
It's not a good thing for you.
Nope, 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 nope. And then I think it was just, again, that is, I did not want to feel that way. And I knew that I started to get to the point where I knew that, okay, if I go back into this relationship, it's going to happen all over again. The whole thing is going to happen all over again. So I finally broke the ties.
The positive about him, which is not really a positive, but as far as recognize what was happening, is I remember he would pull you back in, but he would quickly go to the other person, the not good person. Like
Right. Yes,
so
he
if he
did.
held you a little longer in the place, you may not have left.
Very true.
Uh, he
That's
would
so true.
very quickly, like in one moment, he would like escalate. So he would go, maybe there's a little borderline personality disorder in there too, but he would
Maybe.
escalate from like the roses and the whatever, and then very quickly like lash out at you. I can't like or whatever, or act a way that's not nice.
Right. So, and then in the meantime, after we had ended our relationship and I waited again for a while, that's when I said to myself, no, I cannot, I'm done with him.
What does normal feel like?
Normal feels like things just flow. Things just flow. Life just flows. There's no stress. Okay, you can't see it today. Okay, that's fine. Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because someone had once asked me on a podcast, how do I see, what do I see as recovery? Like recovery of my traitor within, or recovery. And since mine was similar to yours, which showed up in my relationships, romantic relationships, I said recovery is where I can just be me because I'm not dealing with all the stuff every day.
Yes.
Not
Yeah,
overcome,
that's exactly it.
right? Because you're not overcome with, trying to figure
Just
like how many hours did we spend on the phone trying to figure out what
trying.
he was saying, what he was doing, what he
What he
was
was saying,
on
what
it.
was going on, where was this going?
Girls
Yeah,
have a tendency of doing, having no idea what's in his head, of course. Um, but we do it. But all that time where you could just be you could be, I don't know, walking on a beach, or you could be
yeah,
just enjoying
just
life. But instead, you're hyper, so much time, right? It's
spent trying to figure out.
or twisting to make it work so he doesn't
Yeah,
explode, or it's just so much wasted time, right?
wasted time. And then I remember I totally, not going to see you, everything done. The whole thing was turned on me.
Yes. It's
hmm
incredible how they do that.
hmm Unbelievable. I was using him.
Yeah, which I'd like to clarify in this podcast was the farthest thing from the truth.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Farthest thing from the truth. So, this is where I always say that understanding a narcissist, understanding how they act, understanding is really knowledge is the superpower,
Oh
because
my gosh,
you
yeah.
understand
Because
that it wasn't your fault. I mean, you stayed. You want to talk about your traitor, that's a piece. But as far as how he treated you and the manipulation and the trauma bonding and all that happens to your
mhm,
body and the addiction kind of to him, like
absolutely that
all that
addiction,
stuff
agree.
is very textbook narcissist. It's what they do. And it's normal to respond for your body, because it's body stuff and in your head, to respond the way you do. So I think that's why we do this, why we tell the story. And I thank you for that, because other people are going through exactly the same thing.
Similar situations
And they know they're normal, and and they're
you
being
just it's
manipulated.
yeah.
And sometimes we have the extra component of the traitor. So you have the manipulation of the narcissist, the manipulation of if it's an abuser, whatever, and on top, and then your own traitor, your own piece, which allows it to happen.
Allows you to stay in that relationship
Allowing
that
it,
you know is bad.
and it's bad because you have this voice, one side of you that's saying to you, this is
This is
wrong,
not good. This is not.
wrong. And then the other side, you're like, if it's sometimes someone wants
No,
to get the
let's
truth,
just stay a little
right? The
longer
devil,
and
the
try and do
angel, right?
this, and maybe he'll do that, and maybe this will help, or
So
it
that was your
doesn't.
traitor. Your voice
Mhm.
just now, that was your traitor within. It's that voice that said all that kept you there. And you knew better, but you talked yourself out of it.
Yeah, yeah,
Your
exactly,
friend within knew better, and your traitor argued with your friend and kept you there.
exactly.
So that was it. But you are in a phenomenal
Oh
relationship.
yeah. Yeah, then after all those experiences, and then experiencing normalcy.
So if you could go back to yourselves in these relationships, what would you tell yourself?
Be true to yourself, stay strong. Do
Mhm.
not allow people to treat you like this.
Mhm.
Just walk away.
Yeah.
Walk away, and like, you know what? I mean, I think back on the relationships is that you just block the people out of your life because you have the capability of doing that.
That's the boundary thing. And so when we talk about boundaries nowadays, because of social media and stuff, I mean, my recommendation is you not only, unless you have kids with them, and obviously it's a little more complicated,
Right, right.
but if you're not dealing with someone with kids, you literally block them in every way you can. But you're not just blocking them, you got to block their friends too, because you don't want to see a picture of them. Like,
Pictures of them
oh,
or
you were
them
at a
having
place.
some access to you through that.
Well, that too. Yeah, exactly. That's true. So, my recommendation would be a complete block, which is everything around them. And it's hard because you may have been friends with the friends, but you don't want flying
Yeah,
monkeys. You don't want for you to get fully over it. And then you go through a time where you understand who you were traded within, and you understand their manipulation, and you heal and you grieve, because people lose
a lot of time. Yeah.
time, and you lose you sometimes because you're so hyper focused on them.
Yeah,
So
totally, totally.
relationship. So, and you make amends with, like, I've been, for me personally, I've been apologizing to my kids.
It's almost like being obsessed, right?
Oh, yes. So it's their manipulation and the trauma bonding that makes you feel obsessed. I always say, because you say the word obsessed, I say addicted. I felt like
Addicted. Yeah.
drug of choice was making, I don't even know if the drug of choice was the person. I hate the word drug of choice. Let's change that. The drug to me, the addiction to me wasn't to the person. The addiction to me was making the relationship work almost.
Right.
And not, maybe for me too, was not to
Right.
abandon, but it was making the relationship work in any way I could. Like, my messaging from my grandmother and my, mother is that was my job though. I was told that it is up to the women, you know, because they were talking about a heterosexual relationship, but they told me it was up to me, as it was up to them, to make the
To keep
relationship
that
work.
going.
That means you do everything you can in order to make it work. And that was my message. And somewhere for whatever reason, you felt a similar.
Similar in that here, you don't get divorced. You work through it.
Right. But you know what?
Till death do you part. That's it.
But you cannot change the other person. No matter what you do, you can't love the person enough to change their behavior
No,
and convince them to be different. And if you are dealing with an actual person with high narcissistic traits, you can't, they won't have the insight to even make a difference, let alone
no, nope.
caring what they're doing to you. So
Because they're just fulfilling their needs.
just fulfilling their needs, and they need to do it constantly because it's like an empty well. So
Right. So, and as soon as their well gets empty, they go back for more.
that's right. And if you can't fulfill it, they'll go to someone else and they'll come back to
Hmm.
you, like he did for you. He got it out and then he tried whatever. I don't know what was going on elsewhere, but then he came
Right.
to his supply because you were his supply.
Yep.
But I am so glad you got out and you found a wonderful,
Happiness.
wonderful man and you found happiness
True relationship.
and you could be you because
Absolutely.
you're at peace and you could just be you.
Just live and enjoy each other. And
I think what I love about your relationship now too is that you have a partner. When
yeah,
I hear you
exactly.
talk about how things are during the day, with him, you have a partner, a companion that you
Yeah.
love and who loves you, who is there to take care of each other. And at this stage of our lives, as we're older, I'm 60, you're turning 60. And no, but this is about the two of you and enjoying
Yep.
your family together. But it's about taking care of each other and being there for each other,
Absolutely.
but not
Enjoying life together.
enjoying life, not creating problems to make life
Hmm.
harder.
Hmm.
Just pure enjoying life. And I think you are right now, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And that makes me happy.
I know, and I'm happy that we're both happy now.